hot tubs or cold plunges, carnivore or vegan, eating meat or eating vegetables. Should we believe in this guy or this one? Whose religion is correct? Does everything have to be one way or the other? Or do we need to start allowing some room for nuance? Are we living in the age of information or the age of confusion? So guys, we're back with Hard Truths episode 16. We're going to be talking about this idea of the age of information or the age of confusion. Can you guys handle the truth?
I want the truth!
The truth? You want the truth?
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
We're going to be discussing this largely from a health standpoint, especially with all the various health gurus who are out there these days.
I think we can help you.
But I'm also going to be covering it from a spiritual standpoint, political standpoint, and I'm mainly going to be focusing on the importance of first establishing principles and truthful principles, but then allowing for more nuance beyond that. And why that's so important in this day and age where the floodgates have been opened and information is everywhere and all of us are living on this information overload. So let's get to the video now. What's happening, guys? Jared Weiss back here with another video on the Jared and James channel. If you guys didn't know, that must mean you're not subscribed to the channel, so you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, be sure to leave a like, drop a comment, let me know your thoughts on this video. Follow me on every platform. So to start things off, information is great, and that's why I often say, for all the downfalls that come with social media and for all the side effects of it, I believe it also has led to a great awakening and gives people like myself a powerful platform to help people, to seek more truth, to question things, to learn more, to be inspired for themselves. However, now that the floodgates have been opened, and you have every piece of information contradicting something that someone else is gonna say,
Everything that guy just says, bull.
sometimes possibly even in the same social media feed, and I also fully believe that the people in power know this and are actually doing this somewhat purposely because they actually know that they can't stop the information from coming out.
Can't stop it. You cannot stop it.
So they may as well flood it with as many contradicting viewpoints as possible in this effort to confuse us all and make us think that no one is telling us the truth or everyone is telling us the truth, and to leave us in a state of confusion at all times. It's like, if they can't stop the truth from coming out, they may as well flood the information with as many lies as possible, so that this way no one ever knows what the truth actually is.
I don't think you know what's real, Peter. I control the truth! Mysterio is the truth!
Can we still navigate all the information that's out there and find truth, or at the very least find common ground with others and with other viewpoints in a healthy way without needing to constantly be judging our peers for believing differently from us? I think this is actually a very important point that I'm going to be diving into deeper throughout this video. I think it's actually very important to understand where people are at in their truth or evolution, or on their own spiritual journeys. I feel like you have a lot of people who are all waking up at different times and are all at different points on their truth or journeys, I guess you'd call them. But sometimes what I see, which I don't like, is that you'll have people who are like, oh, I always knew that, and you're a moron if you don't know that.
What an idiot!
But doing that is actually going to turn people away from looking further. You're going to model the change. You're going to show people how seeking truth provides you with more happiness, how it makes your life better, how you have more genuine connections in your life. You're in a better mood most of the time, better health, etc., etc. Because otherwise, what's the purpose of going down this journey if you're not actually improving your life as a whole? Now, coming into the whole health space, where I'm a huge believer in holistic health, as many of you guys know by now, and I've actually been on a whole holistic healing journey after having gone down the conventional route, which almost led to me losing my life actually. But I think being someone who's interested in holistic health and who is so interested in getting to the bottom of all this information that's out there, I find it's so important to first establish some level of truths, some universal truths that anyone who's actually critically thinking for themselves will understand. But then it's important to actually allow for some nuance and to allow people to experiment with themselves, because everyone is different, so what works for one person might not work for someone else, and vice versa. So whether it be when it comes to different diets, supplements, training routines, these things may actually work differently for different people, and also certain people may believe that just because something works for them, it's automatically going to work the same way for everyone else.
You should try this.
I don't want to.
Yeah, you're an idiot.
When in reality, we need to customize much of our inputs to our own lifestyle habits, to our level of stress, to how much activity we're able to handle. Next up, when it comes to illness and healing, as many of you know, I'm a strong believer in terrain theory, and I don't even see it as a theory, I see it as a fact that your internal internal terrain is going to be the deciding factor in whether or not you're going to get sick, whether or not your body has to express symptoms, and whether you're someone who's going to be experiencing dis-ease. And the same thing goes for when it comes to healing. You're going to heal by making your internal body's terrain healthy, by getting rid of the toxins, and by putting back in healthier inputs. And of course, this takes time. True healing is always going to take time, as I've learned better than anyone. There's no shortcuts, and any shortcut you're going to take is going to have consequences. I also believe that germ theory is actually complete unproven nonsense. I mean, even the father of germ theory, Louis Pasteur, on his deathbed actually agreed with Antoine Béchamp and actually said on his deathbed, the germ is nothing, the terrain is everything. But what do we know about the whole pharmaceutical industry? They're all about creating and labeling a new germ for every new disease, because therefore that means new pills for every disease, new treatments for every disease, and so the more labels you have, the more money they're going to be making. So that would be my starting principle when it comes to health and healing. But if someone else does believe in germ theory, even while looking into the research when it comes to virus isolation, or virus isolation, because I don't want to get shadow banned and I don't want to get taken down on here, virus isolation, and how it's actually never properly been done before. But if someone still believes that germs do cause disease, can we at least agree that the healthier and stronger your body is, and how the less toxic inputs you give your body, you're going to fare better when it comes to any sicknesses that your bodies might experience? Can we also agree that suppressing the symptoms by using toxic pharmaceuticals is actually going to lead to worse outcomes? Can we agree that injecting heavy metals and formaldehyde and mercury and other toxins into our bodies isn't going to be good for our health, because those things don't belong in our bodies? So even if someone out there doesn't believe in terrain theory or has never explored terrain theory, can we at least agree that Big Pharma has some issues?
You got a little problem. Oh, I got a big problem, Jerry.
And that there's a lot of corruption, and the FDA shouldn't be also controlling the approval process of all these drugs, and that all the side effects from every drug should at least be considered when it comes to taking any of these products. And as I always say, and as I always make sure to note, emergency medicine is fantastic and it is essential and it does save lives, but true health and wellness won't come from these poisons, and it's not going to come from Big Pharma, it's not going to come from poisoning, cutting, or killing. You can't inject your way to good health, if you know what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying? You know.
But beyond that, I think we do need to allow for some nuance. So like, if one person believes in Epsom salt baths, another person believes in enemas, can we actually make room for both? Or if one person believes in the power of healing the mind first and then detoxing the body, or if one person believes that detoxing the body is the most important thing and then another person believes that detoxing the mind is the most important thing, can we actually allow both beliefs to happen? And can we allow people to explore these things for themselves and see what actually works best for them, rather than criticizing every person who doesn't 1000% agree with everything that you're promoting and that you're saying? Can we start with the basic principles of health, start with the fundamentals, and then from there, can we build on that? I mean, why is it that everything these days has to be this all or nothing principle? And as I always say, I'm someone who goes all in on everything I do, but I'm all for live and let live, as long as you're not harming anyone, and as long as you're not imposing your beliefs onto me. And this is why you'll never hear me blatantly attack someone who I disagree with, even if someone actually strongly believes in modern medicine, beyond emergency medicine, as I said before. While I'm someone who strongly disagrees, and I'm going to speak about all my beliefs, and tell you why I believe that all those things are actually dangerous, what I'll say to people is to take that belief to its end, see it all the way through, and then find for yourself what still holds truth. But you have to be open-minded to being proven wrong.
You were right and I was wrong. I was wrong. Are you happy now?
In all instances. Don't just be the guy who's on the Titanic as the ship is sinking, trying to tell everyone that like this boat is still 1000% safe, and that the people who run the ship's company told you that this ship was safe and effective before you got on. You have to be open-minded, but make sure to see your beliefs all the way through. And if you are someone who feels strongly about something, then there's nothing wrong with expressing that, as long as you're actually being authentic and not just being a contrarian for the sake of being a contrarian, and you're not trying to be so different from everyone else just because this person believes this, so therefore you're automatically going to believe the total opposite of what that person believes.
If every instinct you have is wrong, then the opposite would have to be right.
Then at the very least, I could still respect that. Even if I disagree with you, if you're being authentic, I'll still respect you for expressing your true beliefs. It's like, for instance, another thing that like I've actually been seeing when it comes to the whole holistic health space, something that's also being promoted as end-all be-all, is the idea of German New Medicine. So like, for those of you who've never heard of this, it's basically this principle that was created by this guy, Dr. Hammer, which says that all disease comes from the mind, because if you look at some of these health scans on the brain, you'll see that there's a specific region of the brain that correlates to every type of disease. But I actually feel that German medicine has tons of limitations. It doesn't address the toxins, and also doesn't address how just because you're seeing something on this brain scan doesn't mean that the cause of it is actually all in the mind. Just because your mind is being affected doesn't mean that your mind is actually the root cause of that disease. Not saying that that's never the case, but I think that you have to look at health from a totally holistic standpoint. You have to look at toxic foods, toxic air, toxins in our medical products that many of us have been exposed to, whether knowingly or unknowingly. I mean, we're living in a very toxic world right now, so to gaslight people and tell them that toxins don't cause disease and that your body can heal without anything outside of it.
You just gotta believe.
I tried that out for a period of time and it didn't work for me. So why should I feel bad about taking things outside myself, whether it's something like zeolite, which is natural and comes from the earth and is a natural detoxifier, or doing enemas and castor oil packs and Epsom salt baths. This is like one of the dangerous things that I see coming up in the holistic health space, because people who I actually agree with on a lot of what they're saying then end up becoming so tribal and end up becoming so different from everyone else in this effort to just purely be different from everyone else. It's like you actually end up getting rid of and denying some really powerful tools that nature has to offer, because you just want to be different from everyone else. You want to be different from the holistic space. You want to be different from the conventional space. But what I've actually seen when it comes to some of these German medicine people is that some of them actually end up going so far the other direction that they end up coming back to the beliefs in conventional medicine, and then it's them promoting antibiotics and steroids and taking pharmaceuticals as actually being better than taking natural health products. And once again, I'm not saying that every supplement is good for you either, because a lot of natural supplements are actually garbage. But we need to do the research for ourselves rather than just dismissing everything as being bad. And look, don't get me wrong, our bodies are incredibly powerful, our minds are incredibly powerful, but we need to work with everything. We need to work on removing toxins in the body and also removing toxic thoughts. Why does it just have to be one or the other? I mean, I see people who are promoting taking 1 million supplements every day, but then I also see people who tell you that all supplements are bad and none work and they're all dangerous. But why have I and so many other people found benefits with certain ones? It's like, if you're going to deny me that experience, then I don't trust you.
The betrayal, man.
And I end up feeling gaslit all over again by the holistic space, when I initially was feeling gaslit by the conventional space, obviously, as many of us are. I mean, once again, you have both sides of the spectrum. You have people saying take nothing outside of yourself, you don't need anything, you don't even need to eat food, all you need is to breathe the air and get out in the sunlight and get nature, and that's everything. But is our world really that pristine right now to the point where our bodies aren't being exposed to toxins, and that on a daily, hourly basis, and that our environments are so conducive to healing and to helping our bodies, our bodies don't need any help outside of us? It's like, as I always say, let's just say our bodies on their own could remove all the toxins in 20 years without any help. But with some help from some powerful detoxifying tools that align with nature and that align with natural principles and that aren't being used as a way of suppressing symptoms, but are actually being used to help your body to express the symptoms more. Let's just say it takes 5 years that way. Why wouldn't you use the natural tools? It's like same thing when it comes to exercise. If you're someone who believes so strongly in only using body weight, but let's just say it takes an hour to stimulate your chest doing push-ups and it only takes 10 minutes to get that same effect doing bench press, why not help your body further? Why not expedite the process a little bit? Our bodies all need help, and so to deny them this is foolish in my opinion. So how do we navigate all this information? How do we navigate both sides of the spectrum? How do we navigate seeing every side on social media when it comes to this topic? I say take what resonates with you. Learn about everything that you can, even if it's something that you might be skeptical of. Why not learn about it, see it all the way through, see how much of that belief holds truth, go at your own pace, and respect everyone's beliefs and respect everyone's knowledge. It doesn't mean that you have to agree with them, but don't bash what's working for someone. Even how I was just saying how I don't like a lot of these people in the whole German New Medicine community, because I believe, as I've spoken about with Victor in the past, how German New Medicine doesn't address a lot of things that we actually believe cause disease, and is actually basically just telling you change your mind and then everything will just get better magically. You don't need to do anything physical, everything is just all in the mind. But hey, if that works for some people, great. I'm not going to tell you to stop doing what's working for you. So like, it's the same thing when it comes to me using the powerful natural tools I believe in. If I'm finding all this benefit from them, and if without them I was only getting worse, then why are you going to deny me that positive experience that I've been having? Why do I have to feel gaslighted by these people who I actually agree with on many other things? You also have people who are saying that gyms are bad because lifting weights isn't natural. So all we ever have to do is use your own body weight. But just because our earliest ancestors weren't at conventional gyms doesn't mean that these gyms don't have any benefits to us. I mean, first off, we have the sense of community.
Many arms, but you know what? Over here.
I swear to God, this kid never does legs. This kid Dave never does legs. I see you do legs once.
Oh yeah, I got legs tomorrow. Shots fired.
Guys in his pajama pants.
We have the ability to create a more powerful stimulus than we ever had without them. So why not take advantage of all of these amazing tools that are out there? Just because you have to be so different from everyone else, just because you have to be a contrarian for the sake of being a contrarian, you don't want to use something that can be used to align with our body's natural principles.
You are the dumbest smart person I have ever met in my life.
I mean, once again, we have to allow for nuance. So like, just because something is working for you and just because you believe in that strongly doesn't mean that what someone else is doing can't work also. As I always say, there's multiple paths to the same destination. So like, just because 2 plus 2 equals 4, but like also 3 plus 1 equals 4. You might be getting rid of toxins by going after the mind first, and someone else might be getting rid of toxins by detoxing the body first. But like some of us, like myself, I actually like to use all the methods available. I like to take bits and pieces from people. So why does it have to be like, oh, if you don't believe everything I say, you're the problem? Why can't I take what resonates with me from one person and then take a different thing that resonates with me from another person and try to piece it all together in this way that actually works best for me?
It only works if all the little cogs mesh together.
I think that's what all of us should be doing, rather than blindly following only one person and taking everything that person says as 1000% truth, and even if something else comes along that can be helpful, you're gonna say no to that because you only have this narrow-minded belief. Something else like I also don't like is that how I'm also starting to see some of these gatekeepers out there, even with people who I generally agree with on most other things, who are telling people, oh, you shouldn't explore this conspiracy, only look here, this is the only one that you should be focused on, don't even worry about Taylor Swift being used as a CIA op, don't look at the whole rap industry, only look here because this is the only important conspiracy out there, or this is how the real truthers do it, or I don't even want to be called a truther because I don't want to align with any community. And like, a lot of this almost reminds me of like elementary school.
Hey Billy, you wanna go play soccer with us after school?
How you keep creating smaller and smaller alternatives as a way of being different from everyone else. And it's like, you're not cool enough to be in this group because you don't believe everything that we say. Or if you're still researching that conspiracy, you haven't evolved spiritually enough. Everything is all in the mind, and if you believe in any of the evil that's out there, you haven't evolved spiritually enough. I see all these people like almost coming back around full circle and doing the exact things that like these people actually used to speak out against. Now you're telling people not to look here. You're telling people that thinking for yourself is bad. You're trying to create a more and more exclusive group as opposed to one that's kind to all people and that welcomes different viewpoints. Don't let other people tell you what's best for you. Be your own advocate. Listen to your own internal voice above all others.
The arrival of his lunch order.
Who's that, James Earl Jones?
And listen to your own body. Listen to your own mind. No person has 100% truth and nothing but the truth, even me. Even though I'm always trying to seek the truth and I'm always trying to speak the truth, I might get some things wrong too.
No! God, please, no! No!
So I want you guys questioning me too. But I'm not going to force my beliefs onto anyone else. I'm not going to tell people, oh, only what I'm speaking on is important, but like, you guys can't speak about this. That's such like elementary school nonsense. And like, it's sad for me to see people who I actually like and people who I agree with who are doing this. More excluding and more looking down on other truthers or looking down on other people for exploring things that interest them. It's the same thing when it comes to modern medicine, or when it comes to mainstream media. Telling people, oh, you have to do this, you have to take this medicine, or you're not going to be included in the rest of society. Or you have to think this way, you have to see things this way, or else you're going to be holding back the rest of our progress. I think also as truthers, and as truth seekers and truth speakers, we have to keep in mind that some people actually use things for different purposes. For instance, just because someone believes in politics or a certain politician being real, even though I believe that politics is basically just two wings of the same bird, who are both being used in this binary choice fashion when both sides are going to take away our freedoms in other ways. But if someone does believe in a certain politician, they may actually have a reason that completely aligns with truth, and they may actually have a good reason for supporting that person. So that's why I won't fault someone who believes that. Or like when it comes to my book, which will hopefully be coming out soon, maybe even come out by the time this episode comes out, but I have a lot of quotes from celebrities in there, who I now know are mostly, most of the time, the large majority of the time, largely satanic, secret society, Moloch worshippers, etc., etc. But I actually left them in there because the quotes themselves still apply to my message and they can still be used for motivational purposes. It's like same thing as I'm always saying when it comes to social media. Can we use it for good purposes? As I do, of course, such as like promoting truth, love, positivity, inspiring people, which is why I don't like when these spiritually evolved people.
There he goes. How high's he gonna go?
All the way, Patrick. Up to the great beyond.
And these people who are holier than thou, which is like same thing when it comes to people who tell you like they don't need anything outside themselves to heal, and they don't even have to go to a gym, they don't need any supplements, they don't need any tools that are aligned with nature to heal because they're better than you.
But I'm better than you?
It doesn't make you less of a person to use tools that are helpful for you. And it doesn't make you more of a spiritually evolved person to not use social media. Which is why I don't like when people who are often benefiting from social media are telling you to get off your phone completely. Because what if I'm actually using it to enhance my creative abilities and for my own self-expression and to help others? I can't use my phone and I can't still be a spiritual person? Why does it have to be this all or nothing principle? Why can't we see it as dependent on situations? And same thing getting back to health. If someone is using a tool to suppress their symptoms and isn't going to change up any of their lifestyle habits, then of course, they're not using that for the right reasons. They're going to be using that to cover up symptoms and to cover up something like they don't want to change. But if you're doing all the other right things and then you're using tools on top of that to enhance your body's abilities for healing and for removing toxins, then I see that as being super beneficial and I don't see why you wouldn't want to do that. Or what about when it comes to rap music? Of course, basically 99% of the rappers are demonic and satanic, and of course a lot of their lyrics are dark. But what if I actually use that energy, transform it into something positive, such as when I'm working out, and turning that energy into power for my workouts, and using it to motivate me and hype me up? So you see what I'm saying? Not everything has to be this black or white. Or I can use that energy to have fun with friends, as long as I'm aware of the darkness behind those lyrics. As long as you're aware of every agenda, and as long as you're knowledgeable about all this information, and as long as you have all the information at your disposal, you take what resonates with you, you leave what doesn't, then ultimately you're the one who's in charge of whether or not that thing is going to do good or bad. Can we at least admit that politics are corrupt and that most politicians aren't in our best interests? And it's like, okay, well, if you believe in one guy, and if you're someone who does everything in their own power to make change, if you're someone who's doing all the right things on the individual level, and if you're someone who's empowering yourself and empowering others around you to get healthy, to think for themselves, you're someone who understands that censorship sucks and it's morally wrong, chemtrails are real, our food shouldn't be poisoned, but like, if somehow you still then see a politician as being someone who's going to better our lives, then so be it. I'm not going to tell you not to believe in something that you feel strongly about. It's not my place to do that. Or when it comes to NASA and Flat Earth, can we at least admit that we've been lied to by the mainstream? And once again, I'm not saying that anyone has to believe what I do. I'm not saying all of you have to be flat earthers like me. I'm not saying that all of you have to believe that everything that comes from NASA is nonsense, even though, as I would say, it is, because NASA is not a space agency. It's a money laundering operation and it's used to deceive us. But like, look into Operation Dominic, look into Operation Paperclip, look into Werner von Braun, Admiral Byrd. Look into everything and then make your decision. Don't shut yourself off to something just because someone in the mainstream tells you to, or because someone in the holistic alternative route tells you to. If we're going to truly be free thinkers, then we also have to encourage others to think for themselves, and we have to allow for other beliefs. We don't want to turn into a monolith, because what fun is that? We have to allow for nuance, we have to allow for people to believe in what resonates most with them. So once again, we do need to establish some level of truth to an extent, I believe. Although, if you're a good person, and if you're not infringing on my rights, we can be cool.
We cool, right? We're cool.
Even if you believe totally different from me, as long as you have a positive value system, if you have good morals. And most of this video, once again, I'm mainly speaking to the division within the free thinkers and truther world, which has been very divisive. But like, it doesn't have to be that way, and I don't think it should be that way. And now, beyond all this, I actually want to finish this video off, because I've been going for a while now, by referencing a story that my mom used to read to me when I was growing up, about Joe the Bear and Sam the Mouse. Joe the Bear and Sam the Mouse had two totally different lifestyles, One had big ice cream, one had small ice cream. Joe the bear liked to do this, Sam the mouse liked to do that. And everything was completely different, but you know what? They still found some common ground because at the end of every day, what they realized is that they could still meet at 4 p.m. for ice cream. So I'm not saying that we all have to be best friends with people who believe differently from us. Can we all get along a little bit more maybe? Can we all see through people's different beliefs? And this goes for me too. I could also improve at this. But like, I think what a lot of you don't actually realize is how nice and how kind I am to people who have different beliefs from me. I've not once been disrespectful to any commenters. I haven't been disrespectful to anyone in person. If you're nice and if you're a good person, I'm going to treat you the same way that I treat everyone else, which is, I believe that if you treat others right and if you put more good out into the world, you're going to receive good in return. Anyways, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys are thinking freely for yourselves. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Be sure to drop a like, leave a comment, and we'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace. Peace, love, positivity, truth. Let's get it.